get it. Get popping in here. Let me get the comment section going. All right. Ooh, it's been a while since I've hosted a live. What is going on, everybody? This is not the lead, but this is the Texans roundtable. I appreciate all of y'all hopping in real quick. Boom, already. I got 30 viewers on this side already, real quick. So, hey, man, let me blink first. Look, man, y'all don't see no Ruben, but hey, no problem, right? No Ruben, no problem. We still gonna host an episode. We got the usual suspects. So go ahead, introduce yourselves, man. What's going on? How y'all doing?
Doing good. You got Houston Texans here. Just another week of Texans football. That bye week was, something we all needed. I know the team needed, but us following the team and covering the team, we needed that break too. So
yeah,
absolutely. It's your boy AD from the Htown Rundown, and I agree. Definitely needed the break. I think it was 14 games straight, or 13 games straight, something crazy. Really more than that with the preseason. So it's been 3 months straight of football for the Texans. Plus, we needed a break.
Plus a crazy ass offseason too, man. I mean,
it's been fun, man. It's been very fun. I can't lie, but that bye week was needed, man. I feel re-energized. I had to re-listen to D'Amico and Nick talk about Aziz again. Get me going for the stream. I had to listen to them, get hyped, get it going. There's so much buzz around Houston right now, whether positive or negative. Whether you got the Astros or you got the Rockets in their cup game against the Warriors. Hopefully they snap a 15-game losing streak. Can't wait. I'm excited about that. But boys, this wasn't we got to start it off with injuries, man. And we just come off the bye week and boom, you getting healthy. You got Christian Harris back in that practice. I mean, first of all, AD, how you feel? We got an APB sighting. Fully, maybe not 4K, because Aaron Wilson's, his video coverage could be a little shoddy sometimes. But hey, we got video footage of Christian Harris. It's like a Bigfoot sighting. How you feeling about it?
Man, I'm excited that we get Christian Harris back. He looks, pretty smooth. Doesn't look like he's limited at all running wise from the little clips that we saw of him. Low key, what does that do for the lineup going forward, though? That's a big question. But I'm excited, man. I'm glad that we lose Aziz, but we get the reinforcements back with Christian Harris. So I'm ready to see what he's able to provide for this defense. Hopefully, I don't know if he plays Sunday, but wishful thinking he plays Sunday and gets some reps in and helps us out.
Man, don't say that, because Lopez on 610 said guarantee he playing. So,
if Lopez is saying that he ain't playing.
Stressins, how you feeling, man? We saw some Christian Harris. AD's talking about the rest of the linebackers too. We got to remember this is a good depth at linebacker, even without Aziz. Like, the linebacker depth is very, very strong for this team, stronger than what I thought before the season. Because I know me and AD, we were both kind of pounding on the table for Edgerrin Cooper. I love me some Edgerrin Cooper. I thought he was going to be fantastic with D'Amico. But Stressins, get into it, man. Talk about Christian Harris and the rest of these linebackers.
Yeah, first off, free Aziz, man. This is, it's a little bit of bad news with Aziz getting the 3-game suspension, which I think most of us, think's ridiculous. But, we get some good news with that. Christian Harris returning. I think AD touched on a good point that, I've been trying to preach to people too, is everyone assumes like, oh, once he's back, he's back. Like, I mean, that may be the case, but from what we've seen with how this team operates and just athletes in general, like, it may take time for him to ramp up and be the Christian Harris that we saw at the end of last year, that all pro level type Christian Harris. So hopefully he does play, for one. And then 2, when he does play, hopefully he plays a lot. And hopefully 3, he plays at the level that we saw him at. But it's a great sign nonetheless. I mean, from the little video we saw, he looks to be himself. And I think the big thing about Christian Harris was his speed. We've been missing his speed at linebacker, especially in the pass game. So when he gets back in at full force, that'll be a big difference for us. It will be interesting to watch going forward. Obviously, Neville Hewitt will, step in for Aziz as the primary guy at Mike. Big reason being is just him having that green dot for being the communication piece, the guy getting the calls in and calling the defense to the rest of the team. But I do suspect, we do have a good number of pieces to utilize at linebacker, maybe like a platoon approach, kind of mix and match based off of down and distance, passing down or not. But, we wish it was better, but, things are looking up. If we can get through these 3 games with 2 wins, 1 at the least, we'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Christian Harris here, but I think the comment right here, you get one in, you get one out, right? And we finally got a confirmation about Jalen Petrie. I've been asking for quite some time, like, man, what is Petrie's overall, like, the status of his injury? And, man, RIP to Jalen Petrie, man. Partially torn pec. It ain't no joke. He ain't coming back like Cody Rhodes in the Hell in a Cell with an ugly pec. He's not coming back like JJ Watt in the playoffs, fellas. I'm sorry, fans. I know a lot of y'all were hitting up the comment section in my previous video. Oh, you think Jalen Petrie might come back in the playoffs? I don't think so. I don't think so, man. Partially torn pec? I don't think so. But, it's unfortunate. AD, how you feeling about the news, man? I know it's a pretty big loss to this defense, but considering it's the D'Amico Ryans, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it hurt, but when he went out with the pec injury, I was like, first thing comes to your mind is like his season and it's over anyway. And then, to hear the news, the Texans are hopeful that he comes back and this and that. And obviously, I think he's been out, 3 weeks now with the bye?
Yeah.
Right around 3 weeks or so. And I guess it wasn't healing the way they wanted it to heal or thought it was going to heal so he could play. And now they opted for surgery. So it's a big blow to the defense. Jalen Petrie's been playing out of his mind this year. It really hurts this defense because he was kind of like a main focal point of the defense. I think up to his injury, everybody had been in and out of the lineup except Jalen Petrie. He was kind of like the mainstay. I mean, Jimmy Ward has been hurt. Kalen Bullock didn't start because he was a rookie. Then you had Aziz was out. Henry was out. Will was out. Foley's been out. Foley hopefully is back this week. So there's been like a map. Danico Autry missed the first 8 games of the season, or 6 games, whatever it was. So the list goes on and on of players in and out of that defensive lineup, and Jalen Petrie was like the one constant of that defense, and he always brought the energy, brought the pop, and was always making a play, man. Every game was in somebody's backfield making a play.
Yeah. I mean, Jimmy Ward is supposed to, which we already know this, but Jimmy Ward was taking snaps already at the nickel role where Jalen Petrie was filling in, or not filling in, but playing. Jimmy Ward is filling in for the nickel role. Mr. Optimistic mentioning about Foley Fatukasi practicing today. Hopefully, good to go for this Sunday. Foley's, again, this whole rotation of the interior defensive tackles has been pretty enlightening, I'll say. It just seems like just throw in any defensive tackle and it's going to work, it feels like that's kind of where we're at this point with D'Amico Ryans running this defense. But, okay, cool. No Jalen Petrie. We got Jimmy Ward. All right, now the craziest thing that I thought was happening was the offensive line. Now, this is a discussion, man. This is a discussion. Like, this is
you want to piss people off. Let's talk about
what is going on with the offensive line, because I mean, you got Kendrick Green probably thinking of a Peloton if all they will let him do is cycle on the bike. I mean, that's probably on his mind 24/7. He's also probably thinking, what in the world did I do to piss off D'Amico Ryans? I have no clue. Everyone's trying to figure it out. He pissed in his Wheaties. I don't know what Kendrick Green did, but I am confused because it immediately started with Cody Stoots' tweet of the offensive line that he saw at practice. and it included the usual, except left guard was Zach Thomas. Stressins, what was the immediate reaction when you saw Zach Thomas lined up at practice today?
Well, yeah, when I saw that tweet from Cody, I thought for sure, okay, like something's wrong with Scruggs. And then obviously shortly thereafter, Aaron Wilson reports that Scruggs is going to miss at least a few games with a foot injury. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned Kendrick Green getting skipped over. That is pretty crazy. I mean, he had, one game where he went in for a few reps against the Jets. And, he had some good and had some bad, but I mean, he didn't really get a chance to prepare. So that's surprising. But I am kind of like weirdly optimistic. I don't know why, but I've like thought and like had decent hopes for the Zach Thomas guy. Like, because I've heard Caserio now like throwing his name around for several weeks. Unprovoked, he just like mentions his name. I was like, okay. And normally when Caserio does something like that, like he's kind of like giving you tea leaves. Like he's pretty bad. If you like intently listen and watch his interviews, like he kind of gives away stuff without meaning to do it. So I'm kind of, I guess, did my thing go? Can you still see me?
Yeah, you lost your picture there, bud, but we can still hear you.
Okay.
All right. Nick Caserio was watching.
Yeah, he's like, hey, giving away my secrets. But I mean, y'all know me, I'm an optimist, but like the way I'm looking at this is I would like to see Zach Thomas over Kenyon Green, especially if Kenyon Green is back too early and is still hurt. I mean, we already saw what he could do. At this point, the level is here of expectations. I mean, if we can just get marginally better, I'll take it. But a point to note about him, obviously he was on the Pats and got released. So it's like, yeah, he was on the worst O-line, but he's a tackle, but playing guard for us and has played some guard. He's a big guy. He's 6'5", 300 pounds. So I don't know much about him. I'm just saying, hey, he should be good. And then for me, I guess for all of us, the one thing that has been the most frustrating about the left guard spot all year, it's not necessarily the physical, it's the mental. Like we have too many times where the left guard and center aren't on the same page mentally, and we're just letting free rushers run right by them unabated to the quarterback. Those you just cannot have. So I'm just hoping at the very least, Zach Thomas, if he starts, he can get the mental side of it down. And then if he gets beat physically, that's fine. I can live with that from what we've seen.
Yeah. That's been the biggest problem, stressing, like you said, it's all been mental. And people have been bashing this offensive line play, and I'm going to be real with you. Outside of, Shaq Mason, everybody else has been like mental lapses, mental issues, nothing physically wrong with it, with them. It's all been mental. So if you can just fix the mental issues, and which I think they've kind of shored up the last few weeks. And I'm gonna be real, which I'm gonna just say it. I think they're trying to protect Juice Scruggs in a sense, and saying that he's injured over the next 3 weeks. And for bad play, they just wanna. I mean, they just did the same thing with Kenyon Green. They protected Kenyon Green and put him on injury reserve. Shout out Texans on 3 podcast.
But Texans on 3, what to do?
Definitely think that Juice Scruggs hasn't been playing well at all. People don't want to pay attention because they don't see the hits on CJ anymore or anything like that. But the biggest thing for me is the run game has like, see if I'm using this word, has taken a precipitous drop.
Ooh, I think you crushed that.
That word of the day. Okay.
In play, and it's like, can we do better? And I think that was something that, as much as we give hell to Kenyon Green, when Kenyon Green was in the lineup, the run game looked a lot better than what it did when he was out of the lineup. So, and people say, well, Joe Mixon had 100 yards here, 100 yards there. Well, can we talk about how Joe Mixon is making plays without, the help of the offensive line and making these long runs and everything by, escaping pressure from the backfield? But yeah, it's interesting to see. But this shakeup and all that going on, bringing Kenyon Green back after most had reported he was done for the season
Yeah.
when he got hurt, and they put him on IR. People assumed it was
Yeah.
season ending. The way that D'Amico talked after the press conference when they put him on injury reserve, the way he spoke about Kenyon was that it was season ending, like it was over. And the fact that they brought him back tells, I
Well, I
don't
wonder
know.
if it was because Juice. I mean, you made a good point that he may not be hurt, but like if he actually was hurt, maybe that's why they brought him back. But then I thought too, it was kind of funny because he basically just tore his labrum, right? Like he basically just dislocated his shoulder. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't like a crazy injury. I was like, man, that's not season ending. Like I've torn a labrum before, and players do it all the time and come back. So
they.
everything
But
is weird about our injuries, man.
it's not just the injury part. I just think that the Texans, it's been a lot of screwing the pooch with the offensive line. Them not being able to figure it out and them still trying to tinker and play with and do all these different things with the offensive line. Um, yeah, that is just what are you doing? Like what it's like you keep playing around with these little pieces and you don't of the puzzle and you just putting it in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Like you putting an end piece in the middle of the damn puzzle and saying, "Oh, hopefully it'll fit. It'll fit one hole, but it won't fit the other parts of it." So it's just, I just think there's a mismanagement of the offensive line, not realizing what you have and who can play where and what you can do. But that's a testament to last year. We didn't have the continuity last year. Titus was gone half the season. Um, Kenyon was gone the whole season. Juice was gone half the season.
It's
We
crazy.
had Patterson got injured, tore his ACL. He went out for the season. So all these guys that you're expecting to play 3/5 of the line didn't play. Half the season, if that, or not at all the season. So you're expecting these guys with no continuity to come in and just plug them in, and they're supposed to be great. And it's just, I don't know. I blame Chris Strasser. I blame Bobby Slowick. You got to put someone on D'Amico Ryans as well
Yeah.
for his undying loyalty to Kenyon Green. As much as people wants to say, "Oh, that's the Strasser thing," that's D'Amico Ryans.
That's for
D'Amico
sure.
Ryans, and if Kenyon Green starts this Sunday,
Yo,
D'Amico Ryans has a big part in why Kenyon Green is starting this Sunday.
what is the backlash from the fans if the starter is Kenyon Green?
I mean, people are gonna be pissed off, but what if Kenyon goes out there, no sacks, no pressures, and
It's
we run the
true,
ball effective?
That's a big what if, bro.
but
I mean, it's a big what if, but hell, we've been giving up pressures in the middle of that line all season long, regardless.
I would
it's
love to
gonna
see a
make it.
fresh body in there. Like, we've seen what the hell he
Yeah,
can do. Like, what makes us think that he's going to come off an injury and
right.
hiatus and all of a sudden just figure this shit
So
out? It's like
what has happened the last 3 weeks to make the
I
offensive
mean,
line better than what
Nothing.
they've been
There's
being?
nothing. There's nothing to make
they've
this.
been better since he's been gone, though. As bad as they've been better than
True.
what they were.
But what change happened to make them better?
Kenyon
Put
Green
Drew
got hurt.
Scruggs at
Juice
left
Scruggs went
guard
to
and you put
center.
Jared Patterson at center.
I'm sorry,
One
yeah,
person,
Patterson with the center.
Jared Patterson.
Yeah, that was the biggest. I agree. Like the center issues with Juice, his communication, that was probably the biggest issue. It was being overshadowed by Kenyon. But I agree, and I think that's been the biggest change. But then we still know like left guard's been bad, right guard's been bad too. Like Shaq has played better the past game and a half, but like he's been pretty bad himself. The tackles have been pretty solid overall, but it's just that interior as a whole, man, it's been.
All it's gonna take is if as soon as Kenyon starts, it's gonna take one sack again from Kenyon. And the
Oh,
whole fan base. You already know what's gonna happen.
they gonna
The
start
whole
throwing
fan
bottles
base.
on the field.
We got
Oh man, it's
PTSD,
gonna.
man.
You think he gonna make the Aziz situation look like a damn playhouse? Like it is gonna be bedlam as soon as Kenyon Green gives up a sack. It is gonna be absolute bedlam. If he goes clean, like AD says, wow, man, you still gonna get hate. Oh, he got lucky.
people are going at this point. So let's be real. People have hated Kenyon Green since he got drafted because he
True.
wasn't the player that they wanted to draft.
That's true.
That's one part of the fan base. He didn't help himself out by the struggles he had his rookie year. I mean, granted, if I put any other rookie offensive lineman in that position, I don't think too many more are doing much better than what Kenyon did his rookie year against the slate of constant week after week after week after week of crazy defensive tackles that they put him on an island one-on-one and say, here, Kenyon, block this all-pro defensive tackle one-on-one 85% of the game with no help from Laremy Tunsil or the center. And, excuses, whatever, then you come back, he's out for the season, hurt in the preseason game, out for the season. And I think everybody was saying he was actually playing well. Those first two preseason games, he played well. Then the Saints game, fucked the shoulder off, out for the season, whatever it may be. Comes back, everybody's giving him praises in the offseason that he's come back looking lean, come back playing better, all this. And I'm just giving a Kenyon Green history lesson. And here we are again. He plays bad. People still have that disdain and distaste of his mouth in their mouth of him, and him not playing well this season just amplified it times 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been a proponent of I preach patience for all the players. Like I've been saying, hey, we still don't know what this guy is. He's young, like you mentioned. He had injuries, hasn't played a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, and he played great that first game against the Colts. We were like, oh shit, we told y'all he's back. And then slowly you started to see it. So at this point this year though, so I feel like you're right. A lot of people do kind of use that previous history, but there's people like us that maybe were given a fair shake, but we couldn't deny it. He's not playing good this year.
Yeah. And let me say the players that people wanted were Jordan Davis. I mean, I haven't heard much of anything this season from Jordan Davis other than his name is Jordan Davis. And he played at Georgia. Everybody wanted Jordan Davis. He's kind of ineffective in Philly, in and out of the lineup in Philly, not really an impact player there. Then you have the safety from Baltimore. What's his name?
Kyle Hamilton.
Kyle Hamilton was another player that people wanted. You get Kyle Hamilton, there's no Jalen Petrie.
Yeah.
So, you got Kyle Hamilton light and Jalen Petrie in that same draft. So it's like, are you really missing it when Jalen has, performed well as hell his rookie year? Made people say F Kyle Hamilton. We got Jalen Petrie, had a bad sophomore year, and then this year he was playing like a Pro Bowl type player. Honestly, and probably would be a Pro Bowler if he didn't get hurt this year. So
for sure.
So it's like damn if you do, damn if you don't, but we're here. We are here right now, and we got to battle through the storm of this offensive line shuffle. I think this will be the 5th or 6th iteration of this offensive line.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's different.
We probably had a lot of different variations last year too, though, huh?
Yep, but the constants last year were George Fant, Laremy Tunsil, and Shaq Mason. So 3/5 of your line were always there. Patterson was the starting center. Then he tore his ACL. Then you had who was that played Dieter?
Yeah, Dieter was actually
that came in.
Sweaty motherfucker.
So it's crazy right now.
This year, we've had the tackles, and then now with Scruggs, Mason's been there, the tackles, and now Patterson has been there long enough. That's what this makes you think. What the hell is wrong? What is different, bro?
It's to me it's Chris Strausser. That's the first thing.
Yeah,
it's Chris Strausser is just bad at his job.
Part of it too is and I've been saying this too about Stroud. Everyone early on was saying sophomore slump, and now he's struggling. But to me, it's more of a sophomore slump for Slowick, and so that might be part of this too. Is our scheme, what we call protections. What comes to mind is that Zadarius Smith interview after the Sunday night game. He's like, yeah, I told them, hey, when they say Larry, they're sliding to the left. It's they caught on to our schemes. That could be part of it too. Is teams caught on to us on tape. Hey, they're doing this. They know what the hell we're doing, and they found out stunts how to. So they basically figured out Strouser and Slowick. That's a big part of it too. Like obviously the players are liable for a lot of it, but I mean we're getting worked on that.
It's tough, man. Hey, we're gonna really put a pin to this offensive line conversation. The real end of this is we got a Miami game coming up. Before we do get into it, who's starting left guard for the Houston Texans on Sunday?
I'm going with Thomas, dude. Let's go. Let's see
Zach
what
Thomas.
we got.
For all hell to break loose, it would be Kenyon Green. Because that's what it's going to. It wouldn't be Texan enough to start Zach Thomas. It would be
story right.
Ultimate Texan move to put Kenyon
storylines, man.
But I think we can all agree, no matter who it is, we're not going to know until like the last second.
Absolutely.
For sure.
We're going to know. So we'll know by the inactive list. True. One of those two guys will be inactive.
True.
And that'll be crazy. It'll be either Kenyon Green inactive or freaking Zach Thomas inactive. With Kendrick Green sitting there.
I was about to say.
Kendrick Green there with his arms folded like.
Bro, what does he got to do? What did he do to be on the shit list? Like,
he didn't play nearly enough in that Jets game to get like a fair evaluation to write him off for the year like that. That's crazy.
I would have liked to see him at center at this point. Like, if you were gonna find a way or whatever, because at first Patterson was playing guard and Juice was still struggling. Why not try Green at center and see what he does? That's his natural original position is center.
Yes.
And he's a smaller guy. He actually has a center type body, to play.
Especially for the zone scheme, an agile sideline to sideline guy. He's not a mauler,
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, like if anything, like I'm all about just like showing that you're trying, like rather than just running the same shit out there and sucking every week. Like if it continues to be bad, like show desperation. Like we're trying to figure this shit out. We got options. Let's exercise all of them until something works. But I mean, my concern is they did good last game, but it was against a bad pass rush team, a bad defense, and so you wonder how much of that was actually us playing good, how much of that was actually an inferior opponent. So
the question, I want to answer Sarah's question, but I want to answer this too because we need to wrap this part up. Does Miami have a great pass rush or a good pass rush?
I think it's decent. Chop Robinson, like the edges, I'm not worried about. It's more the interior, obviously. Yeah. And they got I forget the guy's name, but they got a pretty good
Calais Campbell.
Well, they have another guy that D'Amico is raving about too, I believe, or maybe Casario. I'll see if I can pull up his name, but
Siler. Austin Deck because he was ass. Simple as that. Simple as that.
Austin Deck, you last.
Yeah. What helped him in the Steelers game, and that's when Deculus started. If Fred's actually wanting, what helped him in the Steelers game was how Bobby Slowick actually schematically had the offense running in that game. Was just like, whoa, that's what pisses you off with Bobby is you've seen some glimmers of like, that's some pretty smart plays here. That's some pretty smart schematic stuff that he's throwing out here. And then you see some crap like a wide receiver screen again and again, or end arounds with Tank Dell, or end arounds with Xavier Hutchinson I don't want to see none of that, man. I don't want to see none of that, man. We got too much to be gimmicky. I don't need that shit.
Sarah asked, do we think that Shaq Mason gets benched?
Yeah,
No. I think
Shaq Mason. He's played better, but
Shaq Mason is sleeping with somebody's daughter, man.
and Kendrick Green knows it. And they and apparently he's not supposed to leak that information. He's got that information, but they tell him, man, you know what? Do it. We don't give a damn about you, Kendrick Green. What did he do? Did he shit on D'Amico Ryan's lawn? Like, I'm just trying to figure out. Poor Kendrick Green, man.
What I do know is that you can't have a poor attitude about it.
True.
When it comes to stuff like that, and that's in any locker room, not specific to the Texans, but you come in and you start crying and bitching and throwing a fit because you don't get your way or get your opportunity, coaches are going to take that out on you and say, you know what?
True.
I'm not going to ever play you. You want to act a fool about this and, you know, do all what you're doing, then I'm not going to play you at all. So I think we're at that point with Kendrick Green.
Yeah, so I'm
You get
kind of
that name,
concerned. I'm
Stresson?
looking into this. Calais Campbell, obviously, and then Zach Seiler. And they are their two highest, greatest guys on their defense.
Yeah, Zach
His name is
Seiler.
Zach Seiler. But via PFF, that's their two highest graded guys on the season. Is their two interior defensive linemen. And I'm trying to look up the pass rush pressure percent rate. I feel like they were early in the year. They were a pretty high pressure percentage team. I think their pass rush isn't bad, so I might be stressing a little bit now. I'm gonna dive into this later on my show, but
they're not dominant. So
yeah,
let's get into it, man. We got the Dolphins coming up, man, and look, we all know what this 3-game stretch in 10 days means, but I've said it already on my channel. This is like I'm not worried about anything else. I'm worried about winning this game. Like, to me, this is such a must-win game for the Houston Texans. This is such an important game for the Texans, considering the Colts. They're going to be playing the Denver Broncos. I don't see them beating the Broncos. The Broncos and that defense, and hey, shout out to Bo Nix. I was not a believer. I was not. Sean Payton and Bo Nix he found him a Taysom Hill with an arm. That's exactly what he found. And he's so happy that he found Taysom Hill with an arm. And that's Bo Nix. And he's played very well. I have to give him his credit. And I just don't see the Colts beating them. I think it could be a good game. I just don't see the Colts beating them. So, again, as we all know, if the Colts lose, Texans win, you clinch. All right? That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to see. This is an important game. As a little sense of urgency, you can say, for the Texans in this Miami Dolphins game. How are y'all feeling about the game, and what do y'all think the Texans need to do in order to win this game?
Go ahead, Stress.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough game. I mean, I don't know how most people feel. Like, I feel like some people might, I guess, relative to our next 2 games after, they think this game is easy, but I think the Dolphins are no cakewalk by any means. I think they're a dangerous team. They're a good team. This is a tough game. I don't like that they ended up winning that game last week against the Jets in overtime. They basically went from their season being over to still alive, and now with a chance to keep momentum going. They're basically in playoff mode right now. This is basically a playoff game for them. We're going to get their best shot. They've been pretty good since Tua's returned from injury. In my opinion, their defense isn't bad. And then we see their offense, Tua's playing better. And the biggest thing about their offense is obviously speed. Tua gets the ball out quick, so it's hard to get pressure on them. And then my biggest concern for them on their offense is, I mean, obviously Tyreek Hill is a threat, but I'm sure we'll find ways to contain him with, coverages, but it's going to be Devon Achane out of the backfield. But he is like him on our linebackers with a depleted linebacker core. That's scary to me. I mean, but they do run a lot of screens, so, it's going to be imperative to tackle, but I think the spread is 2, so that sounds about right to me. I think we can win. I hope that us being on the bye benefits us. I think it will as well. We had that long stretch. I think we were mentally and physically gassed. So I think it'll be another Houston Stresson's game. We'll be blessing and stressing throughout the game, and maybe we win on the last-second field goal. I don't know.
Oof.
Fred in the comments said scoring the second half. That's probably the biggest key for the Houston Texans.
Yeah. That's a good one.
2 games. We did it last week or last game.
Can we repeat and and run it back and score again in the second half? Speaking about what you're saying with Htown and how the Dolphins, you do a lot of screens with the tight end John Smith as well as Devin Htown. That is going to be Paramount that Jimmy Ward is a
Merriam-Webster. I see you over here.
is going to be a great key to this game. Being effective playing in that nickel spot he's going to have to be able to read and react as Jalen Petrie has been doing all season and blowing up screens that was outlandish. I do think we may see more Kamari in the slot as well. With Waddle and Miami and how they throw those receivers out with Waddle, Tyreek Hill, as well as Odell Beckham
There we
Jr.
go.
OBJ. So yeah, we got
Odell. Yeah. Odell.
I know, but he'll pick this game to actually show something. And
Yeah. Fucker.
So definitely that. But like I always say, the game is always in the trenches. What are we going to go do defensively on the defensive line with the potential of Foley coming back? Can we actually put pressure, super pressure on Tua Tagovailoa and get I'm laughing at Sarah and get pressure on Tua and make him affect? I think it's a timing passing scheme that they use, and if you just start the timing a little bit.
Yeah.
Look, I watched Okuda in the Jacksonville game. Oh my God, Okuda.
Poor guy.
It's time to wrap it up, sir.
Yeah.
Talk about Kenyon Green, but Okuda, man, it's time to wrap it up.
Do a Gary on Conley, man.
Yeah, let's go ahead and call it a career, man. But definitely on the trenches, we gotta find ways to get instant pressure on Tua. I don't think Miami's offensive line is anything to write home about. So you got to be able to.
With 2 starting tackles too.
Yeah, yes. You're right. Was Armstead is gone, as well as was it Kendall Lamb?
Yeah, no, is it Kendall Lamb?
Oh, it's Kendall Lamb starting.
I know both are out.
I thought Kendall Lamb was starting.
Is Kendall Lamb starting in place of?
I saw him last week.
Okay, then he's starting in place of.
Yeah. Oh, former Houston Texan Kendall Lamb. Shout out.
Great. Houston Texan, great. So you got to be able to put instant pressure on Tua, affect that passing game, which is weird because I brought it up on the Spaces last night. Mike McDaniel in San Francisco was the run game coordinator. Patrick Paul.
Yeah, so Brandon, so Teron Armstead is likely out, I believe. He's the left tackle. And then Kendall Lamb, I believe, is questionable. And then Patrick Paul is the backup to both tackles. I believe that's the U of H guy they drafted in the first round this year, or no?
Yes, I believe so.
Who's host? No, he wasn't first round. I think he was
the first round.
He was a highly, he kind of, but anyways, we got a rookie that's going to be their left tackle, and then just a random guy at right tackle against the best edge duo in the league.
Poor guy. Patrick Paul, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm a big Patrick Paul fan. I know him at UH, man. He's fantastic tackle there. Fantastic. Really athletic tackle. But, buddy, you're going to get your done worked up, man. Yeah, man. Barbecue chicken alert, man. This is finger licking good type shit. Like, it is Daniel Hunter and Will Anderson should have a blast. And like AD said, man, if you could get interior pressure, that just makes the edge rushing so much easier. If Foley Fatukasi is healthy, he can push the interior of the pocket as well. The rotation that they have already with the interior, you got the Nico Autry as well.
Tim Settle.
Tim Settle has
this will be the healthiest that our D line will be all year, right? We got the whole, we got every D lineman, don't we?
Yes. Yeah,
we've been so focused on Petrie and Aziz being out, but like we have the whole, armory for our D line. That's scary, bro.
So my thing is D'Amico going to blitz a lot to get that pressure on Tua? And going back to the point I was making, it's kind of weird that Mike McDaniel was the run game coordinator in San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan, and they passed the ball majority of the time in Miami. Whereas Bobby Slowick was the pass game coordinator in San Francisco. And Bobby Slowick wants to stuff the run down people's throats.
Yeah, that's odd. So what I don't know, I don't think we'll blitz. I heard him talk to on the Coffee with Coach. He says like I would love to only rush 4 if I can. So like, he made it sound like he doesn't love to blitz if he doesn't have to.
He doesn't, go ahead, my bad.
Oh, I was just going to say, you couple that with what you alluded to, and we've been talking about is, them getting the ball out so quick. If you blitz and they get the ball out, it's like not even worth blitzing. But, I was thinking ways to combat that. This would be awesome to have Petrie. I feel like he would be causing havoc, disrupting timing on short game. But, this would be like we need J.J. Watt in town this week to teach our defensive linemen how to start swatting passes, man.
I don't want that to happen, man. We
I'm just saying, like, as a consultant, like
no. I'm sorry, stresses. I'm reading a comment from Brandon.
Oh,
no, we don't want.
You don't want that?
No, because you want Jimmy to be suspended too.
True.
Like
Guess you're right.
We already got the black mark on us. Like any kind of hit like that.
Man, all
right. But definitely, I agree.
Getting hyped.
So yeah, the pressure has to come from 4. And I know D'Amico doesn't like rushing more than 4, doesn't like to blitz, but at this point, do what you got to do. If the 4 is not getting home in the first quarter, dial it up in the second quarter on and make something happen. And he said worth it.
Hey man, just because Aziz out don't mean we ain't gonna take out Tua now either. Come on now.
No man, look, Trevor Lawrence throwing up gang signs got Aziz suspended three games, man. Like if Trevor Lawrence would have got hit and just rolled over and got back up, is Aziz suspended 3 games? The world may never know.
Nope.
So yeah, you got to take advantage of Miami and put them to bed. Like I think you said it earlier, Harley. They're playing for their lives. They're playing for playoff position. This is a playoff game for Miami. Honestly, every game we have except the Titans game at the end of the season, the next 3 games are going to be playoff games.
Yes.
Baltimore is trying to fight for their life, for their division. So they're going to go all out on Christmas Day. Kansas City still hasn't locked up the number 1 seed. So they're going to continue to try to win because any game that they lose, puts them at jeopardy of not getting that number 1 seed.
Is there a chance that they can lock it up? Because they have 1 loss. Bills have 3 losses, and so do the Steelers.
They can't lock it up
until Steelers and Bills lose.
So they can't lock it up until after our game.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess they have the tiebreaker with the Bills, but I guess they don't have the tiebreaker with the Steelers.
The Bills beat them. The Bills is their only loss.
Oh, I'm tripping. Yeah. So that's why, because the Bills have the tiebreaker. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So they have to beat us. Like they have to win their next game and they have to beat us to actually lock up the number 1 overall seed. And I think we take them down, but we'll get to that next week.
I'm with you.
But yeah, definitely every game is going to be like a playoff atmosphere, especially the next 3. And honestly, if we play our cards right and we take care of business the next 3 weeks and we win these games, we're not playing in the 4 seed.
No, we're
not. We're playing in the 3 seed.
Yeah,
for sure. Considering the Steelers,
the 2 seed is not out of the picture too. Honestly, the Bills could lose a couple more games, and we have the tiebreaker on them. They play the Lions, and then I think they have a couple against the Jets and Patriots. But I mean, they could lose 1 against the Jets too.
I'm telling you right now,
Regional
the Patriots are a very, very sneaky team.
They are.
Yep.
They are.
I feel like they'll come up and beat somebody they're not supposed to beat.
So we're not done. We could be the 2nd or 3rd seed.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Again, the Steelers' upcoming games are Eagles, December 15th. Then they have the Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals. Like,
they're definitely that 3 seed is definitely
exactly. So if you can take care of business, and let's say you take 2 out of these next 3, which I really want the Texans to do to showcase that they are legit contenders, they got to be competitive in all 3 games, and they got to win 2 out of the 3. Hopefully, they just blow everyone out, but that ain't gonna happen. But but they got to win 2 out of the next 3. They got to be competitive in all these 3 games, and they want the fans, they want everybody to get really back on board fully. That's what you got to do. I'm excited, man. I'm excited about the Dolphins game. We've been on a little bit longer than we should have, but it's okay because we got about 400 people deep in here. I appreciate everybody that's been watching. Guys, y'all already know, man. Link y'all stuff. Let the people know where to find y'all.
You can find me at the Htown Rundown on YouTube, on Twitter, as well as Instagram and Facebook. And you can also find me and Htown Rundown on htownrundown.org. We have our articles and from our beat writer, Ryan, who covers the Rockets for Sports Illustrated, as well as the Miami Heat. So y'all go ahead and check those articles out, those Rockets articles.
Okay.
And then, of course, our latest episodes. So I know we didn't touch on the Steve Nelson situation, but
Oh
that'll be
yeah.
something
He's
that
the
we can
enemy
touch
now.
on later. But y'all go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the Htown Rundown. Get us to
Not about
1,000
that.
subscribers, man.
Yeah, you can find me Texans commenter on most social media. Houston Stressins on Instagram and Facebook. You can check out my Free Aziz shirt on the website HoustonStressins.com. We're having a watch party. Harley and AD will also be there. Texans on
And
3
Ruben.
will be there. Ruben will be there. I don't know why my camera's
I'm
going
telling
off.
you, man. I'm telling you, the FBI. Look, that's FBI Sarah in the comments. Bro. And look,
Oh,
she got him
that's
off.
what. Damn, man, damn. That's
Hey,
he's
but
off too, man. He's out
look,
too.
he's out. Hey, Stressins, like Stressins said, join us, me, myself, Harley,
Yeah,
Ruben,
that's-
Stressins, as well as Texans on 3. We will be in the building and live streaming the game, commenting on the game, live stream at the Tejas Brewery on I-10 in the Heights.
yeah,
If I'm not
something like that. I
mistaken.
believe so.
So y'all go ahead and go to Stressins Twitter and go to the link, register, join us, have a ball. You already know it's gonna be crazy. You may, first of all, you meet us in person, get to see us, see the handsome fellas, and join us. So yeah, Sarah, Steve Nelson signed with the Chiefs. We know
Yeah.
that. That was the news. There was nothing else. Steve Nelson's been teasing that for a while, but it finally came to fruition. But yeah,
Yeah,
Harley,
for
I think
sure.
it's
For sure.
think we can plug it a little bit later again next week. But yeah, I think it's a good time to sign off.
Yeah, man, I think so too. I appreciate everybody that's come on. Again, y'all know where to find me, man. Appreciate all of y'all. The lead, Houston. Y'all know what it is, man. Astros, Rockets, Texans. I try to do it all. So go ahead, man. Y'all do y'all's thing. Go ahead, show up, man. AD's talking about it. I'm gonna go ahead and post it real quick. Bam, right there behind us. We got the bam. There we go.
Yeah.
Boom. We got the little Htown party that's going on here, Texas watch party at Tejas Brewery. So, man, make sure y'all show up, man. Come down, meet all of us. We love to meet y'all. We love to get everybody interacted. We want to meet the Texans community. So do y'all's thing, man. Show up, show out, and let's beat the damn Chiefs while we're at it too. But we're gonna take care of business first with the Miami Dolphins. Again, guys, I appreciate all of y'all that showed up. Or is it? There we go. I appreciate all of y'all that showed up, man. So again, this is the end of the stream, 400 deep. If y'all haven't, man, go ahead, do y'all's thing, comment, subscribe to everyone's platforms. We do an amazing job covering all the Texans content as much as we can. Peace, y'all. Y'all have a good night.